Welcome back to Speller Tutorial Services. Today we're going to continue talking about the sum and difference formulas for sine and cosine. Again, I have the formulas defined here to the left, and then we have our particular question we're going to try to answer today. The question states, suppose that sine alpha is equal to 24/25 in quadrant 1 and sine beta is equal to 3/5 in quadrant 2, and we want to find the exact value of sine alpha plus beta. Alright, to start off, we're going to go ahead and just sketch what these angles look like in the appropriate quadrants. If you notice, in this video we don't have the values of alpha and beta. We're just going to use what's given and derive everything else that we need. So first, let's begin. Quadrant 1 is the upper right hand quadrant. Going counterclockwise, the quadrant increase. Well, that's 2. This here is quadrant 3. And last but not least is quadrant 4. So now we're going to take what's given, sine of alpha in quadrant 1. So we're going to create a right triangle here in quadrant 1. We know the relationship of sine, and we'll put alpha there. The relationship of sine is the opposite, 24 over the hypotenuse, 25. We know that this here is one of the special triples, which again is known from previous trig experience. And then we know in quadrant 2 we have angle beta, and we're taking the sine of beta, so the sine is opposite, which is 3, and the hypotenuse is 5, and down here is a -4 because we're in the second quadrant. And again, this here is a one of the special triples. Now let's take a look at which of the sine forms we're going to use, the sum or the difference. It looks like we're going to go ahead, well, they told us to use the sum. So now we're going to substitute our values. You see that we're using this third formula here. So we're going to take the sine of alpha. Matter of fact, let me just rewrite it so it's easier to follow. Sine of alpha cosine beta plus cosine alpha sine of beta. Well, sine alpha, that's given in the problem. We know sine of alpha is 24/25, and now we need to find the cosine of beta. Well, this is angle beta. The relationship of cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so that there is -4/5. We're going to add that to the cosine of alpha. Again, that relationship is adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's 7/25. And we're going to multiply that times the sine of beta, and again the sine of beta is given as 3/5, but again we can look at the drawing, and again it still is the opposite over hypotenuse to give us 3/5. Now as we continue to evaluate, we multiply our numerators and then our denominators. Multiplying the numerators here, I get a -96 over 125. Multiplying the numerators here, 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 3 is 21 over 125. I already have common denominators, so I can evaluate my numerators. -96 plus 21 gives me a -75, and if I simplify that, that comes down to -0.6. Alright, so that sums it up for this video from Speller Tutorial Services. Here we looked at the sum and difference formulas for sine and cosine. In this particular example, the sum formula of sine, and we evaluated that without actually knowing what the actual angles were, but just the relationships between the sides. Please friend us on our Facebook page or subscribe to our YouTube page, and thanks again for watching.